I have followed this carefully in my journey as a Christian. That you are a saint if you have performed miracles. Right? Saint Athanasius did not perform one single miracle, and he's called the Apostolic because of his defense of the Christian faith. Saint Cyril is called the pillar of Orthodoxy and the seal of the Fathers, not one single miracle. Why miracles started to assume a prominent place? Because of three drastic reasons. Each one of them is horrible and disgusting. Number one is the loss of our own humanity. Saint Irenaeus said, the glory of God is a living human being. Because as a human being, I have been made in his image. I moved from, in the old age, we used to write on stones, and we used to write on papyrus. Now the email. You can send one message that goes around the world in minutes, maybe seconds. I'm not expert on that, but I know for sure that if I send a letter to Egypt by mail, it will take 5 days. If I send a letter to Egypt by email, it takes less than 5 minutes. Unless it is, a hacker took it, Instead of riding a donkey or a bike or a motorbike, I ride a car. I ride a jet. We went to Florida. If we did it by car, it could have taken 18 hours. You do it in 2 hours by aeroplane, by flying. Our progress has been great. And while everything moving around us in the glory of humanity, to prove that we are the masters of the universe in Psalm 8 in the Old Testament, we want to get out of our own humanity and look for something external and forget about ourselves. It's a loss of our glory as human beings. Number two, because of our confused knowledge, we're looking for a miracle, something, divine to break into our confusion to prove something to us. Well, the only confusion is our lack of self-knowledge. People say that even among homosexuals and lesbians, it's a mistaken identity. I don't know if in our churches you will ever read Eric Fromm, Identity. Is that a book that is known? It's a good book. Identity. There is even now a comedy called Identity Theft. Nice comedy to watch, actually. Very, very nice. Very nice to watch. But if it's not nice if you are the victim of the identity theft. The identity. My identity is in me. Look at this strange way of saying, what is sin? Missing the mark. But what is the mark? The mark is outside you. Wrong. The mark is inside you. It's the image of God. I am the image of God. And I am able to develop myself as God's image. To miss the mark is to miss my identity as the image of God. And if I don't catch that, miracles will not make me the image of God. Miracles will take me outside myself. Then I have missed myself. Completely cruising into something external. That doesn't say anything about my own humanity. And that is very sad and very depressing. Third reason is disastrous. I'm talking as a Christian. As a Christian, I am a new creation. And the great miracle is to be a new creation. Is to move from being a slave to sin to the freedom of the children of God. To free myself through grace and through the work of Christ in me to become Christ-like. So the miracle that takes place in my heart, that the kingdom of God is in you. The kingdom of God is not something outside you. It's not in the sky or on the earth, it is in the human heart, where God is reigning as a king. And what a pity if I will miss that and cruise into something else. I need to prove that the Bible is true. Well, try the new creation. And you see how Augustine, Moses the Black, Anthony of Egypt, Macarius of Egypt, Pachomius, Augustine, all these people try the gospel and discover that it is a new way of life. And by living that miracle daily, they become transformed. The transformation of my humanity is a miracle. I cannot, in any sense, look for an exterior miracle. I was petrified on my last visit to Egypt in 1988. I was visiting churches and I saw churches oversaturated with relics of the saints. Give you a good example. When we had the 1,600 years of the anniversary of the death of St. Athanasius, this is something makes you shiver. We went to Rome and they told us that they have the bones of St. Athanasius. I was there, it's documented on the DVD. They gave us a bone about that size. What is it? It's from the tibia. They told us. Okay. For the first time I make that confession in order to get rid of a big burden. They took that little bone and put it in a box that size, carried by two bishops. It is the body of St. Athanasius. And buried that in the cathedral. And I said, we don't need the body of St. Athanasius, we need his writings, his theology. The way he explained Christian faith to us, the miracle of St. Athanasius is his defense of the Christian faith, not his relics. I don't know, the whole celebration was about the relics. People passing by to kiss that box, if they knew that it's only a little tiny and aren't really body, and was buried down in the basement of the new cathedral in Amberwith. I watched that with great sadness. But I was comforted when few weeks, maybe few months later, Abuna Matta al-Miskin published a volume on St. Athanasius. And I said, now Athanasius became alive. Because now his theology, his teaching will get into our life and brings a new life. But that bone cannot bring a new life. It's a blessing, yes. We honor it, yes. But that's it. It will not go beyond that. The man never performed a miracle. But the miracle is a witness to Christ in the writings. And you may accuse me of being a Protestant or evangelical, but I am not. Athanasius is a landmark for both East and West. But our celebration of the life of Cyril VI, the book that was published a few days ago, I read reviews on the internet. Hilarious. These are George Bebawi's own ideas. Well, how do you know? When I was living with him, you were not even born. You're talking about someone you never met. You heard of him because you heard of him from so and so and so and so, but actually never met. No. He wanted to make his ideas spread, so attribute him to Ambacrolus. No, I don't want to do that. But I read and I kept saying, oh, well, one day, yeah, someone will discover the truth. The man was a great teacher in the church. He could not have said that. How do you know? Oh, only the miracles, but the teaching. And this material was on Coptology for more than 3 years now. When they put in one book, suddenly people became aware that there is a new material. It's very funny. This book is not documented. Well, the man never left a document behind him. Okay, the sayings of the Desert Fathers. You know, we all read the book. Documented by who? Who are the writers? The fathers themselves. Did St. Anne really sit down and write his own life? Because Athanasius wrote it, so it must be true. Fine. But if George Bebawi wrote it, then it is wrong. I must be a liar. But read and see if the theology in this memoirs are correct or not. Memoirs. I wrote even, personal memoirs of a man I live with. We bypass the miracle of being a human being. And by doing that, we enter into mythology. It's no longer theology.